started in a seated position. So whether you use the blanket to sit on and elevate yourself or a block to maybe sit on, go ahead and start settling in. I'm going to be sitting on a block here and just kind of sitting back onto my heels, but using that block as a little bit of assistance to kind of keep me more upright position, and helps sort of just lengthen the spine. You can bring the shoulder blades back away from the ears. And so just sitting in whatever position though works best for your body. And start to reconnect here and maybe start to turn the eyes down. And then just start to take a moment to notice the breath. Take a moment to notice how your body feels. And since we'll be working in the hips, just taking a moment to notice how your hips feel today. Maybe you start to sit up a little bit taller. And so for the breath work, we'll be working with a 4-count inhale through the nose, followed by a 6-count exhale through the nose. So let's just take a few breaths here. Take a deep breath in. And then a long exhale through the mouth. Releasing any stagnant energy. Do that one more time. Deep breath in through the nose. Long breath out through the mouth. And so to begin our breath work, go ahead and seal the lips. Taking a nice deep inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Pausing at the top. Exhale through the nose for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Inhale through the nose. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale through the nose. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Inhale through the nose. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Inhale through the nose. 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one. Exhale through the nose. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And just let that go. Release that breath. And then just floating the eyelids back open, coming back to just a natural, rhythmic, organic breath there. And so I'm going to come off of my block, and then I'm going to come up into a seated position on my blanket here. So if you're already there, feel free to stay right there. But we're going to come into a seated shoelace pose. So start to walk the left foot over towards the right, and then the right foot over towards the left, and then just kind of stacking one knee, or the right knee on top of the left knee. And so for your shoelace pose here, we want that little bit of elevation in the hips. So coming up on that blanket, sort of maybe coming towards the edge of the blanket. And then for your shoelace pose, if one knee does not stack on top of the other, no worries, totally fine. If it looks more like a square and maybe one shin is stacked over the other shin, and that's what your shoelace pose looks like, that's totally fine. So just coming to a position here that works for your body and that works where you can stay here for a few minutes. We'll be here maybe about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. So just being able to find some stillness in our shoelace pose. Maybe you're grabbing the ankles and just kind of holding onto the ankles or the feet. Maybe placing the hands on your knees. And still sitting up nice and tall here and just starting to settle in here before we find some stillness. And just starting to come back to your breath, bringing awareness to your breath. Keeping a slow, steady breath here. Maybe you're sealing the lips again for your inhales and sealing the lips for your exhales. Slowing things down again in the body so you can be able to tune into the different sensations that might be coming up in the body or the mind. Try not to attach any certain label with those sensations, just welcoming any and all that come up. And so whenever you're ready, we'll add in a little bit of breath work here as well. So we're going to do the 4-count inhale and a 4-count exhale as well. But on the exhale, we're going to just start to bring the body forward. Maybe find a little forward fold here as you round the spine. So to begin, take a deep inhale through the nose. And then an exhale through the mouth. Sealing the lips. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. And then exhale, start to lean forward. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Inhale, start to lean back up for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Exhale, leaning forward. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Inhale, leaning back up. 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Let's take an exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And just release from that breath. Release from any extra tension there. And then just coming back to an upright position. Start to bring the hands behind you, and then placing the feet, unwinding the legs slowly, placing the feet wider than your hips distance apart. I'm just going to windshield wiper the knees side to side. So whatever side you'd like to take first, it's totally up to you. There's no right or wrong here, just moving slowly side to side. And bringing back in that blood flow through the legs before we get set up on the other side. So when your legs come back up through center, just coming back to an easy seat position. And then just noticing here the effects of the practice so far. And then whenever you're ready, just starting to walk the right foot towards the left and then that left foot over towards the right, stacking the left knee on top of the right. Or again, if that is not available to your body, just finding a more square pose where the bottom of the legs are more in a square shape, or I think they call that fire log shape. So just finding whatever version of shoelace pose works for your body. Start to settle in there. Maybe you're wrapping the hands around the ankles, maybe reaching for the feet. And just starting to breathe here. Noticing the breath. And so while a yin class is very quiet and having stillness, there might still be some chatter going on in the mind. That's totally fine. Just bringing it back to the breath. Maybe even meditating on the sensations that you're feeling in the body, maybe around in the hips. And so we're going to add in that 4 count breath work with the 6 count exhale. So start to sit up nice and tall here. Let's take an inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. And then start to seal the lips on an inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. And exhale, start to lean forward for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Pausing. Exhale. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Exhale. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Last one. Inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And just releasing from that breath. So we're folded over here. Just taking a moment to release any extra tension. And then just coming back up to an upright position. Again, taking the hands behind you, slowly unraveling the legs, placing the feet down wider than hips distance apart. Starting to windshield wiper the knees again, side to side. Just finding what works for you. Don't worry about the knees not touching the mat. Mine certainly do not. A few more times here, side to side. And then just coming back up into a neutral tabletop position. So we're going to be on our knees here. So feel free to use your blanket or towel as a padding for your knees. And then placing your blocks on the highest setting there. Coming to a tabletop position. Let's take a few cat-cows. So on an inhale, start to lower the belly, lift the chin, spreading the collarbones. And then on an exhale, start to round the spine, bringing your chin towards your chest. Inhale, lower the belly, lift the chin. And then exhale, round your spine, bringing your chin to your chest. And then inhale, just coming back to neutral tabletop. Go ahead and step the left foot forward. So in between the hands somewhere. We're going to come into a low lunge. So feel free to adjust your blanket as you need to. And then just placing your hands on top of your blocks there. So finding a low lunge. So we're going to take this in steps, or maybe levels if you want to say that. So start to lean into that left hip. Feel free to tuck that back toe under or untuck it, whatever feels comfortable there. And that left knee can lean over that ankle. It's totally fine. So feel free to lean into that knee, lean into that left hip. Start to come back to the breath here. So in our low lunge, in yin yoga, they call this the dragon series. So And just finding some stillness here, slowly opening up the hips in a more passive way. Meditating on the sensations that you might be feeling. And just kind of having this be a more inward experience for your practice. Turning inwards. And so if you're feeling enough sensation, feel free to stay here or placing the blocks down on a medium setting. So having a little bit or having some support there still with the blocks, but just allowing the pelvis to sink a little bit more down towards the mat. And just checking in, knowing when you've gone too deep or too far. So if you do need to come back up on the highest setting, no worries. Come back up, listening to your body, trying not to force anything there. And then if the body is slowly starting to open up, start to turn the blocks on the lowest setting, planting the hands on the blocks, sinking the pelvis down a little bit more. And just noticing how the right leg is stretched long, and so you might even be feeling some sensation along the inside of the right thigh. And start to walk the blocks a little closer to that left foot, planting both hands down on the blocks. Tuck the back toe under, lift that back knee, and then step that left foot back to an easy downward facing dog. So my hands are on my blocks. I'm in an easy downward facing dog. Let's inhale, rise on the toes. Exhale, bend your knees generously, bringing the knees all the way down towards the mat. Taking an inhale to extend through the spine. And then on an exhale, sinking back to a quick child's pose. So my hands are still on the blocks here. We won't be here very long, just to find a nice little release in the hips. Stretch in the arms. And then on an inhale, coming back up to a tabletop position. So feel free to now adjust the blocks back up to the highest setting. And then stepping that right foot forward in between the blocks there, allowing the left leg to be long down the mat. And just sort of leaning into that right hip flexor. Starting to lean in, feeling the sensations, maybe even noticing how different this side feels compared to the other side. Keeping the chest nice and lifted here. And feel nice and rooted down through that right foot as well. And so if you're feeling enough sensation here, feel free to stay here or lower the blocks down on that medium setting. And then sinking the pelvis down a little bit more. Bringing in attention to the hips. Maybe you're feeling some sensation up through the tops of the shoulders even. Just from using the upper body strength of the arms to keep you more upright position across the chest. So we don't want to collapse the chest down. We want to keep the chest nice and lifted there. And again, feel free to stay here if this is enough sensation for you now. Or if you'd like to feel a little bit more sensation, just bringing the blocks down to a little bit lower level there, and the pelvis can sink down a little bit more. But at any point at all that you feel like maybe you've gone too far, just feel free to come back up to the highest setting. So just noticing, checking in with the body, being aware of what's going on, being fully present here in your practice. And so we'll be here for a few more breaths. And then keeping the hands planted down on the blocks, maybe walking the blocks a little closer in towards that right foot. Tuck that back toe under, lift that back knee, and then we're going to step this right foot back to a downward dog again. My hands are on the blocks, and just again finding an easy downward dog. Inhale, rise on the toes, and then exhale, bending your knees all the way down, sinking into the heels again to find a quick child's pose. Releasing that tension there in the hips again. Maybe you might be swaying side to side in the hips.